So you heard about Star Citizen and wanted to check it out. You want to jump right in and start fragging some enemies and blowing up ships. Then you started watching some more videos, got even more hype, but then realized you don't really know where to start. There's probably a ton of questions that you started asking almost right away. What ship should I buy? How are these ships even different? Wait, there's ground vehicles? Do I need a package? What is a package? Do starting cities matter? How do I open an account? Wait. There's a package here for $1,100. What am I getting into? Don't worry though, I've got you. I put together this comprehensive beginner's guide to help you navigate all the things you need to know before buying anything. First off, play a free fly event. These events allow you to fly literally for free multiple times a year. I think there are 6 or more every year. Just keep your eyes on the RSI website. Usually they post them and give plenty of notice. The bigger events are Invictus in May and IAE in November. Definitely try these out. They're the best ones to get in on. All right, with that out of the way, first things first. Got to set you up with an account. Step 1, account creation. So just like any other game that's an MMO, right? You got to have an account. So fill out all the account information here, email, password, etc. And don't forget the referral code. Now, you don't have to use my referral code, but definitely you want to use a referral code. There's tons of free stuff that they give out anytime there's a free fly. Sometimes it's a ship, sometimes it's permanently bound armor. This is the stuff that makes using the referral code worth it, so definitely use one. All right, so after your account is created, it'll take you to this page, and you're going to click the Play Now button. During a free fly, you'll get some other visuals here that indicate you get to try it now. You're going to click the download button and go to the next page. The next page will show you all the things that you should have checkmarked before you can actually download and play the game. So check those out. It shows basic minimum requirements at the end, and I'm going to go into that right now because these are not the minimum requirements. You're going to have a bad experience with these. Having said that, my recommendations are as follows. Windows 10 or newer, a current gen graphics card, 3060, 6600 XT, current gen Ryzen or Intel, 24 gigs of RAM minimum. 32 is better. SSD for your drive that this thing is installed on is an absolute requirement. Don't try a hard disk. It's going to be a really bad experience. Game size is about 86 gigs. Patches can be 60 gigs as well, so you need to have more than 85 gigs dedicated, right? Like 140, even a dedicated 256 would be great. All right, let's talk game packages now. There are a bunch of packages here, and yes, there is an $1,100 package. That's just for starters. They've got some ridiculously priced stuff if you spend more money. But anyway, we're just going to focus on the newbie stuff, right? Starter packages. You'll note some of them say War Bond. That basically means you get a discount, sometimes better insurance. If you look at all of these, it's a bunch of different ships slammed together, right? You got the Mustang, the Pisces, the Aurora, the 100i, etc. Some of them also come with a Squadron 42 combo attached to it. It's basically the single player game that you're paying for a pretty good discount, I'm guessing. It's like 15 bucks or something. We'll see if it's worth it. It's not out yet. Can't even test it. So looking through the rest of these, you've got a bunch of ships, and I'm going to go through all of the ships real quick, kind of rapid pace. So stick with me, and I'll give my recommendation at the end. If you want to get into the specs and compare these ships on a more specific level, you can check out Erkul.games. I'll leave a link below. Keep in mind, everything I'm going to say about these ships has to do with patch level 3.17.1. Anything beyond that, and probably need to get a newer review. All right, the Aurora MR is a very nimble ship, handles really well. The atmosphere, not so great because it's a big box on wings. It's got decent firepower for its size. It has 4 size 1 weapon slots. However, when you get into the game, only 2 of those weapon slots will actually have weapons in them. You can upgrade to 4, but it only comes with 2 stock. Again, 2 size 1 shields, very capable. Crew size is 1, and virtually no utility in this, although you can do box missions in this ship. The Mustang Alpha has more firepower than the Aurora. It's got 2 size 2s and 2 size 1s for weapon slots, a couple size 1 shields as well. As of .2 patch, have some cargo area in the rear, which will really increase the utility of this vehicle, and after that happens, I'll be able to recommend it. The C8X Pisces Expedition package is actually a heck of a ship. It's got 4 size 1 hardpoints for weapons, a size 1 shield. Overall, a really capable ship. It handles well in and out of atmosphere, and it's so small, it can fit nearly anywhere, and it can land in places that some other ships just can't land. Definitely recommend this ship. It's a great starter. The Origin 100i, it's a great handling ship in and out of atmosphere. It's got 2 size 2 weapons up front, 1 size 1 shield, crew size of basically 1. Technically it has a bed somebody can sit on the hull of the ship. It's got some utility. You can run box missions in this ship because it does have an area inside where you can store them. The Avenger Titan handles really well. It's got more firepower than the others we've shown so far. It's got a single size 3 and 2 size 2s for firepower. It's got 2 size 1 shields. You've got plenty of utility in the back. You can have a buddy sit on the bed. Yeah, it's a great all-around ship. The Anvil Arrow. It's one of the best handling ships in the game, if not the best. It's got plenty of firepower for its size. It has 2 size 2s and 2 size 1s. It's got 1 size 1 shield. It's a single-seater fighter. There is no utility with this vehicle, but the huge bonus for this ship, it is one of the metas for PvP. It is a fantastic fighter ship, and that's where it excels. The Nomad is up next. It's got 3 size 2 hardpoints up front and 3 size 1 shields as well. Its handling is not as good as some of the other ships, but that's because this ship has got way more utility. It's more of a small, compact hauler. It has plenty of SCU space in the back. It's actually referred to as a space truck because it's kind of got a truck bed in the back, which is really cool. Super easy for loading and offloading a multitude of ships. If you want to see what actually fits in the back of this, I've got another video about that. You can check it out. This is actually my pledge ship. I love the Nomad. It's a great all-rounder. It's a great daily driver. Kind of sucks at PvP and combat, but otherwise, fantastic ship. From here on out, the ships are going to continue handling worse and worse because they also tend to get larger and larger. So keep that in mind. The Cutlass Black is up next. It comes with 4 size 2 weapons that are pilot controlled and 1 size 2 shield. It's got more SCU space of cargo than the Nomad. It handles a bit worse, but it does have a bit more firepower. Shield is pretty good as well. Crew size for this ship is actually interesting. You can have the pilot, a co-pilot, and a turret gunner, and there's actually 6 or 8 seats in the back, just as like dropship seats, which are kind of cool. You can also carry a bunch of different vehicles in this. Cutlass Black is one of the best all-round ships in the game, period, especially for the price. I also have a video about loading this thing up with as many different vehicles as possible. It can handle a bunch of different vehicles. It's a really awesome all-rounder ship. The Hornet F7C is the next one on the list, and it's a bit of a weird one. It comes with a size 2 mounting point, 2 size 3 mounting points, and a size 5 mounting point. So the 2 size 3s are actually fulfilled with 2 Panthers, which are repeater lasers, good weapons. The size 2 is empty, and the size 5 is actually mounted with a store-all big box Model H storage compartment. That can actually be upgraded to a size 4 weapon as well if you have a different mount, but I'm only talking about the stock loadouts for these vehicles. Go on Erkul if you want to see the full loadout and what you can change these things to, okay? So the F7C Hornet is also like a medium fighter. It's got 2 size 1 shields, so it competes in that area with the other fighters. It does have a little bit more firepower, but right now, previous testing has shown that the Hornet's in a weird place because it is a medium fighter, and they have a lot of issues with turn and pitch and yaw compared to the light fighters, but they don't have the heavy shielding of some of the heavy fighters, and they don't have the firepower of the heavy fighters either, so they're in this weird space. So right now, again, I'm going to say right now I wouldn't recommend the Hornet as a package, but it is still a fun ship to fly. Maybe get it in-game. All right, this is the base level Freelancer. Handling is off the chart terrible. It has been improved recently. I'll give them some credit there. Firepower is decent. It's got 4 size 3s that are given to the pilot. There's also a couple of Badger size 2s on the rear turret. That turret itself has a really poor firing arc and really poor visibility as well, so I don't really think of that as a great deterrent, but I mean, that's really all it is. It's a minor deterrent. Shields are good. A couple of size 2 shields on this ship. Crew size is pretty large, actually. I think there's 4 main seats in the cockpit. There's pilot, co-pilot, and 2 secondary seats. I think that's pretty good. There's also 4 beds in this ship, and a restroom. So it does have full amenities. If you care about such a thing, right now it doesn't matter. In the future, that's going to play a bigger role, of course, especially in long hauling, which is what this ship excels at. It's got decent SCU cargo, 66 SCU, not bad. But really what it is, it's a long hauler. It's not a fighting ship, so, treat it as such. The Constellation Andromeda, firepower on this thing includes 4 size 4 hardpoints for the pilot and 2 turrets, each with 2 size 2 hardpoints on them, so it's considerable amount of firepower. Keep in mind that the Constellation Andromeda is the combat version of the Constellation series from RSI. So this is pretty heavy in combat. Got some cargo, it can have a couple small vehicles, it's got a solid size 3 shield. Overall, one heck of a ship. I think this has become a lot of folks' favorite ship currently, as long as they're doing multi-crew. Solo, it's okay. Again, it handles probably worst out of all of those packages that we've discussed. But overall, it's a great all-round ship, and especially good when you have a crew to man those turrets. Constellation Andromeda is the only starter package that we've talked about that comes with an additional vehicle included. It comes with a PTV buggy. It's basically a golf cart for space. So here are my 4 recommendations out of all the starter packs for anyone who's trying to get into the verse and experience what Star Citizen has to offer. First up, the Aurora MR. I recommend this one because it's the cheapest way to get in and experience Star Citizen. Next up would be Avenger Titan. It's a fantastic ship. It's got good firepower, good shields, good maneuverability. It can get you into some PvP experiences without feeling like you're just completely overwhelmed. I would recommend the Avenger Titan. Next, I would recommend the Nomad. The Nomad is my pledge ship. I love it. It's got full accommodations. For someone who plays solo, it's fantastic because you can haul your gear. You've got a bed to log out in. It's a great ship. It's awesome. The last package I'm going to recommend is the Arrow. If anybody wants to get serious about PvP, the Arrow is probably a better starter ship for you. Unfortunately, all the starter packages that cost more than a Nomad are out of most people's reach, especially if they don't know anything about Star Citizen besides a couple videos they've seen on YouTube. It's really too much to ask a new player to go all in and get something like the Andromeda, which costs $275. I think that's not a great way to get newbies into the game and get them experiencing the verse. Oh, did I mention do a free fly first? The download and installation of Star Citizen is just about the same as any other game. Grab the installer and it downloads the whole thing and installs it wherever you tell it to. The process is no different than anywhere else, only it comes directly from the RSI website, not from something like Steam. This game is only available directly from the RSI website, so you're not going to find it on Steam or GOG or any of these other platforms. The download can take quite a bit of time, so plan accordingly. A lot of people just do it overnight. I know if you've got a super fast internet connection, that's less of an issue. It took me like 8 hours, so be aware. All 86 gigs takes quite a bit of time. So I'm going to burn through this at about 1000x speed, just so you guys get the gist. There are pop-ups that jump into screen. You got to click those now and then, but otherwise it's a pretty straightforward process. If you're just starting out, clicking on the Persistent Universe will take you to the character creation screen. Character creation is pretty in-depth for Star Citizen, but in saying that, I realize that there are only a few options for some things like hairstyle or facial hair or things of that nature. The way you can manipulate how your character looks is actually pretty deep in its capabilities, but there are like the basic options like hairstyle and whatnot are somewhat limited. Keep that in mind. I'm going to go fast through the next section because I didn't feel that walking through a character creation would be super beneficial to viewers because everybody wants to make their own character the way they want to make it. So Why do you care what mine looks like? We're nearing the end. Only a couple more steps before you get to experience the verse. Next up is system selection. Right now there's only Stanton to choose from, so there you have it. You got to choose Stanton. But the next part is choosing your starter location. There are 4 main cities: Orison, New Babbage, Area 18, and Lorville. I'm going to go into each one of those locations and give you some recommendations as to what makes them better or worse than the others for the average beginner. Up first is Orison. Orison is a city that's literally floating in the clouds of the gas giant Crusader. It's very cool. It's easily the coolest city, but it is actually pretty hellish on computers. Remember those basic system specs that I mentioned? If you went in with those basic system specs, it would be really rough. You'd probably be getting in the single-digit FPS in Orison. It's that intensive on computers. If you've got a totally built-out rig, it won't be a problem. However, I'm still not going to recommend it as a starting city for a beginner. It's hard to find your way around. System specs is probably going to put off a lot of people anyway. It takes a really long time to leave atmosphere. For a newbie that doesn't really know what they're doing, that can be really detrimental to their gameplay. After you're trying to get back from your mission, it's also really hard to find the landing area. For all of these reasons, I will not recommend Orison to a beginner. Area 18 is on ArcCorp. It's a very cyberpunk kind of city. All of its visuals and even the feel of the city is very cyberpunk-esque. Very cool. It's a great place to get weapons, armor, and upgrade some ship components, including weapons for your ship. It's kind of hard on systems, but not nearly as bad as Orison. It's really far away from everything else in the system. It's down in the bottom right corner if you open up your system map. I'm not, however, going to recommend Area 18 to a beginner. Although it's easy to find your way around, and it's not as hard as Orison on your system, it is still kind of hard on your system. And it's really far away from everything else in the system, so I'm not going to recommend it. After you get acquainted with the game, Area 18 is probably a good place for you to start. It's really cool. I love it. Up next is New Babbage. New Babbage is on Microtech, which is basically a frozen planet. It's a very cool city. It's protected from the frozen climate of Microtech. It's a little out of the way as well, but it's a solid starter location. It's easy on your system. It's kind of far away, so it's not the best, but overall, it's a decent place for newbies to start. Lastly, there's Lorville. It's on Hurston. Hurston is the most centralized planet on the system. It's basically an old, rundown mining town. It's easy to find your way around Lorville, too. There's really well-marked signage everywhere. It's kind of got a gritty mining town feel, which I think is kind of neat. It's super easy on your system specs. If you come into the game with just the base system specs that I recommended earlier, you're going to be fine starting off in Lorville. Now that we've gone through all the 4 starting locations, I'm going to give my recommendation. It's Lorville. It's centrally located, super easy to get in and out of, great signage for newbies. It's the perfect starter location for anybody who's just joining the verse. So if you followed my recommendation, you'll hit Lorville here, and you'll get a pop-up window. This location will become your primary residence. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, we get it. I want to play. Hit the next buttons, and then you're in. You'll get to start your adventure in the verse. Right about now is when newbies ask their first in-game question. How do I get out of bed? Well, to get out of bed, you hold the F as in Freelancer key, on your keyboard, and look around. That's the F look. You'll see a button to click that says Get Up. That's how you do it. Okay, so to recap everything we've talked about: account creation, minimum PC specs, game packages, all the different ships in the game packages, starter pack recommendations, download and install character creation, starting locations. Man, we covered a lot. If you want some direction on what to do after getting out of bed, check out my video titled Your First 35 Minutes in the Verse, a beginner's guide to Star Citizen. I hope you walked away from this video with all the info you need to get started in the verse. Please smash that like button and subscribe if this video helped.